Hi, Alex Smith here, the Guitar Medic, inventor of the Max Tremolo, owner of Max LLC. I help guitar players breathe new life into their old guitars. In the previous videos, we've discussed the four most popular tremolos and vibratos on the market today. Our last video we discussed the hurdles and how you can get better performance out of the vibratos and tremolos that you have in your existing guitars. I hope that was helpful to you. To help you get better performance out of what you already own. I've dealt with a lot of these tremolos in the past, and I just learned some tricks and I just wanted to share them with you, and we have shared a lot of information. So what I want to get into today is some buying tips, maybe some objections you might have about using tremolos and vibratos. The last thing you want to do is go out and buy yourself a guitar and then bring it home and just not be happy with it. It's happened to me, and some of these guitars cost a lot of money, and the last thing you want to do is, spend $800 to $1,000 and just be totally dissatisfied and then have to trade it off or whatever. So, when going out to buy a guitar, do the research. Look on eBay. Look through all the catalogs. Go to stores. Play as many as you can. Figure out what type of music you want to play. Look at what the pros are doing. Look at what the pros are using. And you're going to probably find, hey, this guy's really got a great tone. Kind of look into his package and see what he's got. What amp is he using? What guitar is he using? Does he use a tremolo? What type of tremolo? Kind of tailor to that. And then use some of the tricks that we've discussed in these videos to make sure that you get the performance out of that guitar. Some buying tips. There's a lot of guitars out there, and a lot of them are very good. You can get an inexpensive guitar and get good performance out of it. But just for an example, like if you're going to be playing blues, a lot of guys are doing Fender Strats with the vibrato on it, and they're very reliable. You can also get Stratocasters nowadays that have Floyd Roses on them. And of course we've gone through some of the tricks on how to get those to stay in tune, and they're very, very versatile, very reliable guitars. The Fender Stratocaster, just for example, is probably the most copied instrument in history. So a lot of different companies have their version of it, which is, call them what they are, they're knockoffs, but there's a lot of companies out there building quality Strat style instruments. So if you don't want to spend the cost on, say, a USA Strat, there are a lot of options out there for you. And again, go out and play these guitars, check them out. A Les Paul is another just extremely versatile instrument. It goes through history in country, blues, heavy metal, hard rock. It really does just go for anything. So, Fender, you can get the vibrato, you can get the Floyd Rose. You can get a Kaler on a Les Paul, but know that you're going to have to route a little bit, or possibly have the cost of somebody installing it for you, and you cannot go back to stock. So keep that in mind. If you go with a Kaler, which I totally recommend, you're not going to be able to put your Les Paul back to stock. Excuse me. If you're getting into, say, jazz, rockabilly, that sort of stuff, a lot of guys are using like semi-hollow bodies, ES335s, guitars that have a solid center going down where the pickups are in and the bridges are adhered to, and then they're hollow on the sides. They're not really made for heavy metal or distorting big time, but there are options for tremolos on there too. The Bigsby slides right on that. If it already doesn't come, like Gretsch is a great guitar. They already come with Bigsby on them, so the option is there. You can put these on Gibson style semi-hollow bodies also. So if it doesn't come with one, you can put one on. If you're really into the hard rock, heavy metal, and using solid body guitars, not hollow bodies, most manufacturers out there are doing Floyd Rose and or Kalers. So know that if you get into that, you're going to either be doing the double locking, or you're going to be doing a single lock at the headstock with the Kaler. Both bridges are reliable if you set them up properly. There is a little bit of setup involved, and we've discussed that. So know what you're getting into with that. One of the things that is kind of a myth, that you got to have a double lock to be reliable, and I think I've gone through enough that you can make up your own decision on that. If you want to go with a double lock, I totally respect that decision. However, history shows that with the Bigsby, the Fender vibrato, and the Kaler only locking at the headstock, you know, you don't go through history of, say, 50, 60, or 30 years worth of being an industry standard like these tremolos are without unlocking and not staying in tune. I mean, these things are out there, they've been out there and then been proven for decades. It's a matter of how you set it up and how you deal with the equipment that you have. We've discussed some tricks and everything, and I've shown you how to get reliability out of all of these tremolos and vibratos. So try not to think that you have to double lock to get consistency out of your instrument. You're probably thinking too, well, you know, what I don't want to modify my guitar. Well, there are some people out there that just don't play tremolos at all and just will refuse to modify their guitars. I totally understand that, especially when it comes to you playing a vintage instrument. Like, I have a 79 Stratocaster. There's just no way I would put a Floyd Rose or an Axe Max or anything in it. It's a classic. It is what it is. I have to keep it the way it is for it to hold its value and keep its meaning to me. I mean, it's a collectible, and I just love that guitar. I don't even play it anymore. I just like to look at it, you know, restring it. It's kind of a trophy I have. So if you don't want to modify your guitar, I can understand that. However, there are luthiers out there and everything that if you have a vintage Strat and you want to put a Floyd in it, there are guys out there that'll do it, but it's going to cost you some money. So modifying your guitar, that is completely up to you. And of course, it's to what you have. I mean, if you have a vintage guitar, by all means, I would recommend you just leave it alone. And enjoy it. Pull out like a bottle of wine and play it once in a while, restring it, put it back in the case, and let it grow a year or two older. A lot of people are probably worried about the cost. Now, if you look at, say, the Bigsby, I purchased this Bigsby brand new on eBay. I think it was 90 bucks. Now, I'm going to probably be putting this in a Les Paul project that I have, and they have hardware out for another $40 that will allow you to put it on existing Les Paul platforms without screwing into the body, so you don't actually have to modify your guitar at all. You basically follow the directions that come with the tremolo, and it'll slide in, and if you decide, hey, you know, I want to go back to stock, it's very easy to just pull all that hardware back off, and just, it's $130. It's a great option if you want to have a whammy bar with no modification on your Les Paul. My Kaler that I just purchased, I purchased this brand new, again, off of eBay. It was about 140 bucks. Probably going to save this one for like an old Charvel project, or maybe a guitar flip coming up on my website where I'm thinking about restoring a guitar and then giving it away. So maybe one of you guys will end up owning this one. Again, I mentioned too, you can get these for Les Pauls that fit on the platform of a Les Paul, but know that you cannot modify and then go back to stock. Once this goes in, it's got to stay in because you have to route the guitar a little bit. The Fender, this is industry standard. There are a lot of other guitars besides Fender that uses this style bridge. You really don't have to modify anything. The cost of that one I purchased off of eBay, I think it was like 15 bucks. So you can actually get into that for under $20 if you wanted to, say, build your own custom instrument. But again, a lot of guitars come with that. If you could go out and buy a very inexpensive Stratocaster that's not a Fender, and get performance out of it by just lubing the nut. The Floyd Rose, now this one, I've had this one for a lot of years. I went and buffed it all out, cleaned it all up, replaced all the bolts because they were a little rusted, and I bought a D-Tuna, which I gotta admit, for the 50 bucks, it's cool, but I wasn't really impressed with it. It does have a little bit of setup issue. Once you get it set up, though, it is a decent piece, and it's a great option for the Floyd. Brand new Floyd goes for around 200 bucks. You can get the knockoffs that are cheaper for under 100 bucks. But know that when you buy those licensed under, they're just not what the original is. The original Floyd Rose it's been industry standard for 30 years, and there's a reason for that. Again, it's the double locking tremolo. It set the standard through the 80s and 90s, and with the add-ons, with the brass blocks and all that stuff, you can get really good performance out of it. If you have a guitar that has a Floyd knockoff in it or a licensed under, most of those guitars have the same measurements as the original Floyd Rose. So if you really want to step up and buy a Floyd Rose, put an original in, you can really upgrade an existing instrument like one of the new Kramers, or you can buy an old Kramer and just restore everything on it. Floyd Rose parts are readily available. Most parts are interchangeable between manufacturers and everything else. So it's a very versatile bridge. Like I said, it's about $200. If you're looking at the Floyd with the D-Tuna add-on, you're looking at another $50. Intonation can be testing you a little bit and kind of trying, so be aware of that. But again, all 4 bridges are they're industry standard, and I would recommend all of them. They all have their quirks, but they all have their high points too. And again, do your research, try a bunch of guitars out, make your own decisions on what you want to play, what style of music you want to play, and then go after the guitars that the pros are using, because they've been there, they've probably done the same research you're about to, and they've learned the lessons to get to where they're at and have achieved the tone, playability, and reliability out of the whammy bars that they're using also. In the next video, I want to introduce you all to the new Axe-Max Tremolo. We're going to go through some of the features, the benefits of using brass, and what kind of reliability and ease of setup this thing has. So thank you very much for tuning in. Keep playing, keep learning, try all these whammy bars out. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people don't want to play whammy bars, and I completely understand that, but if you've got any inkling of taking your play to another level, or you want to try them, they're a lot of fun, and they can add just a little bit to your playing and a little bit more enjoyment while you're playing. So good luck with your guitar purchases, good luck with your tremolos, and we'll see you soon on the next video.